Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, slightly red week, about £6,000 for me down, 2%, nothing to write home about. Most people in the crypto industry know that that's nothing at all for a week, but yeah, lots of news, so let's have a look. So the CoinShares report, I said would be a little negative, nothing too much really though, negative 251 million compared to sort of the previous, inflows being very, very large, and we did get nearly a billion of outflows about a month and a half ago. This is pretty much negative across the board, as sort of expected. But on the coin breakdown, it's only negative for Bitcoin. So 284 million in Bitcoin, 30 million inflow into Ethereum. Whether this is sort of people expecting the ETFs to get approved, don't know, but seems interesting. A lot of people seem to be almost entirely certain the Ethereum ETFs will get rejected, so interesting to see. Small inflow into multi-asset as well, and a small inflow into Solana, as well as Litecoin, Cardano, Polkadot, and others. Not entirely sure the monthly sort of flows have sort of conflicted in with the week's flows. So whether this is just sort of the dollar amount growing rather than actual flows in or out, can't be 100% sure to be honest. But that's how it was, how I thought. Just looking at flows by exchange country. Yeah, again, this is sort of a good point. We've had two positive numbers for Brazil week after week, and the month to date flows are negative. So I'm wondering if this is sort of not flows and it's just how much the dollar amount has gone up week to week, which would be a shame. I thought this was supposed to be sort of flows only rather than the dollar amount moving. Similar to the far side ETF breakdown, but yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Just looking at Canada, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, all negative, all outflows, but 306 million inflow into the Hong Kong ETFs. So they're now at 444 million. It's been sort of seeing a mixture of inflows and outflows from various ETFs, but sort of inflows on the whole. Farside are covering this now, so you can just have a quick look. There's quite a few different providers. You've got Bitcoin, 4 Bitcoin and 4 Ethereum, so that's interesting. Ethereum sort of seeing slight inflow, and Bitcoin sort of seeing slightly more inflow. Just one of them, well, total flow. This is from quite a large seed investment, so the initial sort of capital put in. So yeah, not too much in the way of inflow since the seed capital. It's sort of up and down, but yeah, slow start. On the US side, last sort of week, we've seen again a bit of a mixture. 217 million in on Monday, and then sort of a few inflows and outflows, culminating with a fairly large outflow on Friday. Basically, 103 million out from Grayscale yet again. But yeah, even though Grayscale do now have the cheapest fund, but I did say you're still going to see outflows from GBTC from people that want to leave. But yeah, not a lot of no outflows from the others for a week and a half now. So that's could be taken as good news after sort of one great big outflow for all of them. So very, very unusual price action. But crypto has gone political. It's turning into a little bit of a sideshow, it looks like. There was a load of the big banks pushing to sort of deal with and custody crypto, and the SEC sort of put through a motion to stop them doing that. The House, US House, has then sort of put through a ruling to overturn that and allow the banks to custody this crypto. So presumably see that as safer than people like Coinbase or sort of Binance, certainly, and avoid sort of another FTX. You'd think sort of Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan and people custodying it would be a lot safer, and it would be sort of under their control. So the House have looked to sort of overturn that, and Joe Biden has sort of weighed in and said he will veto that. So it really is a bit of tit for tat tennis by the US government, sort of very much infighting the SEC and then the House and then Biden above it. He can use his veto. They strongly oppose. And then on the other side, you've got Trump, I guess, seeing an opportunity. I'm not sure this is really the way he thinks, but I think he's just jumping on an opportunity to win votes. But it could win votes because there are a lot of crypto holders in America, and they could just see this, even if it's not 100% genuine, it's better than Biden. So I will just quickly play this for the sake of 38 seconds.
The Biden doesn't even know what it is. If you ask Biden, sir, are you for or against crypto? What's that? What the? Get me off the stage. He's saying, get me off the stage. No, he has no idea. But look, Gensler is very much against it. The Democrats are very much against it. And I say this, a lot of people are very much for it, probably a lot of the people in this group. And I'm fine with it. I want to make sure it's good and solid and everything else, but I'm good with it. And if you like crypto in any form, and it comes in a lot of different forms, if you're in favor of crypto, you better vote for Trump. They are against.
So there you go. He sort of wanted to make it crystal clear in that last sentence. I mean, I'm not for Trump or Biden really, but at least Trump does seem a little more lucid, where he gets up in front of the press and talks. You can sort of see Biden sort of stumbling through sentences and having to get sort of escorted off stage once or twice. I think Trump has sort of made a few factual errors and things in speeches, and he sort of looked. I think people were sort of criticising him a lot when he had COVID, which was a little bit harsh. He was sort of, walking in the wrong directions and all sorts. But yeah, he was on sort of experimental treatments and stuff. So yeah, a little bit strange. But we'll see if this gets a bit more of a crypto vote. Got traditional finance getting even more involved, and the big banks, Visa, MasterCard, JP Morgan and Citibank, sort of, again, trialing. It's all trials, a sort of tokenization type shared ledger. So guessing this isn't going to be using any of the sort of publicly available cryptos. This will be a sort of private shared ledger. You'd call it even a ledger more than a blockchain. It's probably something that they largely could have done beforehand. It's a ledger that they all agree on. That's not really blockchain, and it's not something the outside world is likely to be able to see. But whether they would sort of link this, there's a lot of people saying that this would eventually be linked to certain projects and publicly available projects like Chainlink. Possibility of that, I guess. Some people saying this is more more important. Global head of institutional capital at Polygon said this is incrementally more important than the previous trials. It says this represents the 5-yard line for mass institutional adoption. But it's whether that institutional adoption actually uses public crypto or their own created shared ledgers, as they call it. This sort of industry could be built entirely on their own sort of private blockchain ledgers, and crypto could, or what we know as crypto, could go nowhere on all of this. We've been sort of reporting this for quite a while, but it does seem to be coming to a head now. The FTX creditors are set to receive 118% cash payout of what they originally had. So sounds like pretty much everything has been sold, and they're sitting on the cash now, so they can sort of say pretty much 100% what people are going to get. Obviously, most people are sort of dissenting this, saying, if I held sort of one Bitcoin on FTX that was worth nearly $20,000, maybe $17,000 at the time, they expected to be still holding one Bitcoin, and they're now getting paid out 18% more than $17,000, where their one Bitcoin would be worth $60,000. I think that's maybe a little short-sighted. Most of these bankruptcies, you get practically nothing, or you'll sort of get, 30% of the dollar amount that you had. The fact that it's gone up, doesn't really change a huge amount, and the money isn't there. I don't know where people are thinking, all of this money should come from. They, people lost $10 billion, I think it was, or $15 billion, and they haven't recovered $15 billion. So the fact that it's gone up, they can't pay out everyone the actual crypto amount that they lost. But yeah, I guess the public would see this as doing pretty well. I do wonder if anyone had stable coins on FTX, and whether you'll now get 18% more in cash from what you had in stable coins, because that would be a net gain. 18% gain in, what is it, sort of a year and a half. They're looking at this being sort of later this year. It'll take months for the payouts to begin, and it has to go through a judge and that sort of thing. But could see this as a late year catalyst, I guess. If everyone's getting paid out in cash, some people might they may have reinvested new money into crypto and sort of still be bullish. And if we're sort of in the midst of a bull market, loads of people having a huge cash injection, may sort of see them put that into the market as well. It's a little bit different to people sort of getting paid out. If they held one Bitcoin, they could have sort of rounded up all of that crypto, not sold it, and then sort of given people 0.3 of a Bitcoin, say, and then people may have sort of got that back and just been annoyed and sold it. But for that selling to have already happened and people getting paid out in cash, could be a lot more bullish. More bank news as well. The Rothschild Group, sort of famous for various skullduggery over the centuries, really. One of the oldest sort of banking groups. A lot of people sort of, have all sorts of conspiracy theories about them. They have bought a total of $4.2 million worth of the BlackRock Bitcoin Trust and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Very unusual that you'd go with Grayscale. Obviously, it's very liquid, although mostly on the sell side. I don't know if that means they've bought the new cheaper 0.15% mini one, or well, pretty sure that that wasn't called GBTC. So yeah, maybe they just like the liquidity and don't really care about 1.5% fee. I'm pretty sure I would. And you could buy the Fidelity one if you want sort of liquidity and sort of reputation. So yeah, very unusual. But obviously they hold $174 billion in total assets under management for their clients. So 4.2 million is a drop in the bucket, really, but it's a start, and it's sort of a sign of recognition of Bitcoin's potential in value in modern finance. It's sort of a bit like BlackRock getting into it, really. It's like, well, if Rothschilds want to get into it, then fair enough. But yeah, interesting to see whether sort of, I doubt they'll give any details, but if this is sort of certain clients saying that they want to be in it, or if they've sort of decided we're just going to allocate sort of 1% or something to the people that say they want high risk, and the people don't actually know that they own it. Or maybe they get told a year later, oh, we've bought you some Bitcoin ETF. Who knows? Similarly, you've got JP Morgan doing the same, sort of a much lower amount than Rothschild, $760,000. So yeah, less than a fifth. And they have bought the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy Fund. So that was the futures one. I'm not sure why you would buy futures at all when spot is available. The futures have sort of since their beginning, underperformed crypto, or underperformed Bitcoin itself, and will certainly underperform the spot Bitcoin ETFs unless something drastic happens. But yeah, some people want to get into that. They bought some of the iShares Bitcoin trusts, the Fidelity one, again GBTC. Not sure why you would, but whatever. And the Bitwise one. So yeah, and they also reported 25,000 shares in Bitcoin Depot, a crypto ATM provider. So again, a lot of the headlines will say, Jamie Dimon has done a massive U-turn and is now massively bullish crypto. It's certainly not that. It's, some people saying to their broker, sort of small time broker, presumably, that they want to hold a Bitcoin ETF and they'll buy it. Mr. Diamond doesn't even know anything about it, I'm sure. But yeah, it's again a sign of significance. JP Morgan, as part of their assets under management, now holds Bitcoin ETFs. And just a quick look at the Ethereum burning. No change whatsoever. Again, last 7 days, 4,200 Ethereum burnt and 17,600 issued. So a very, very straight line upwards. Same on the 30 days. That's since sort of mid-April now. Pretty much since the Bitcoin halving. And yeah, it's it's not getting steeper as such. There is a small amount of burning and a fairly consistent amount, but it's a straight line upwards. Bit similar to October, I guess you could say. That was sort of over a month and then went on a big downtrend after that. I know I keep saying this week after week, but I think it's certainly worth monitoring. As far as the Ethereum Bitcoin price, that has sort of continued on downwards slightly since the 5th last week. We're now at 0.0477. So yeah, getting low. Just again looking at the wedge. It's sort of a pointless wedge now. It's way sort of out the bottom, but I do still sort of keep an eye on it. So we're still largely in lull mode. I don't think there's anything wrong with this really. It's all fairly healthy. It just gets super bullish sentiment and leverage sort of out of the system and can sort of set up for another sort of sustained move. I think if you just constantly go up, people are sort of blindsided really and then don't really want to get in. This could bring sort of people who hoping for a dip back in the 30,000s. Sort of they might see this as now a time to buy in, where they may have just left it entirely alone if it had have sort of continued up. And again, you just get massive leverage and everything, so that's never good. But yeah, looking at the coins for the week, Bitcoin down 4%. It's sort of some of the altcoins that have been holding up a little better. Solana down 0.5%. Ethereum down 6%. Chainlink down 6% as well. Cardano down 4.4%. XRP down 4%. Gala down 4%. Power Ledger is flat. Polygon down 6%. Internet Computer down 9%. And Audius down 9% as well. Both sort of joint worst performers for the week. Quant down 6%. Basic Attention Token 8%. And VeChain 7%. So the smaller altcoins sort of slightly worse than Bitcoin, but nothing too huge. So we'll have to see how long this sort of lull goes on for. Could be another month, could be the whole of the summer really. Historically, sort of the autumn, October, November, December time is sort of the most bullish. So maybe we get a quiet summer and then it starts to sort of go up in September time. Who knows? But we'll keep an eye on the fundamentals. So leave your thoughts in comments below and like and subscribe. See you soon.